Oh gosh. Actually, it happened when I was about 5 years old. I had lost my brother. He was 10 years older than me. And my mom, of course, needless to say, was distraught. And she hardly came out of her room. She was very disconnected, which I now understand, haven't had children. But what happened was I started to have, which now I realize how vivid the dreams were. I kept dreaming, particularly of this kind of heavy-set woman, and she kept saying not to me, she kept saying in the dream to my brother that her name was and she's going like that, and all I could remember trying to say as a kid to my mom, Felice, which now I later found out in life that the name was Felicia, amongst many other people that came through. Every night I'd have a dream that my brother was bringing one of them to them, introducing them to me. And I guess as a kid, I just thought it was a dream. I didn't think that much of it. I was just totally so thrilled that my brother was still with me, so to speak, in my room at night. And I was more excited about that, never really thinking about why these people were coming through. Later on, like I said, or I don't know if I said it yet, but later on, I was told that they were all my grandma and grandpa who came from Italy. It was all their relatives who were coming through and kind of letting us know that that's who my brother was with. Later on, I want to say in the 3rd or 4th grade, it started to relate to things outside of the home. Sounds silly. It might have been about an actor or actress and something that was going to happen in the near future, and it happened. Silly stuff, I thought. But then a very, very upsetting thing happened. I had become a school phobic because of my brother's death. I didn't like going to school at all. I thought if I left the house, I'd never come back either, like he. And what happened was I had this, every morning I would sit at the table and not want to go to school. And my mom and my sister, who loved school, who walked me to school, would get very angry because it made her late. She couldn't see her friends in the morning before school, that kind of thing. But I always hesitated. Well, this one morning I wake up and I had this terrible nightmare, and I said, which I thought was a nightmare, later on to find out it's not about nightmares, Marty. But anyway, what happened was I kept thinking that my school building, that the nuns were going to burn to death, that the kids were going to burn to death. It was this terrible fire in a Catholic school, scary, scary stuff. And of course they kept saying, yeah, okay, you're making up a story again, so you don't have to go to school. Well, P.S., the next morning, and in those days you would listen to the radio and not hear the news till the next day, my mom puts on the radio, and I'm reading my Cheerio box, which I did to hesitate not to go to school every morning, and there on the radio, they're explaining that I wish my sister was here, I think it's in my book, I can't remember the city it was, I'll tell you the next time. But anyway, what happened indeed was that a Catholic school burnt down. All the nuns and the children were burnt. And I remember my mother and my sister just stopping what they were eating, we were all quiet. And I remember being so frightened and so scared. I think at that point, because I was like maybe 3rd or 4th grade, I want to say, I started to think, I'm crazy, or did I make that happen? It was one of the most frightening things for me.